What's up, everybody? Brian Earhart here with Team Discraft and the Disc Golf Network, and you are watching another episode of Level Up. We talk so much about the throwing arm and the structure of the throwing arm when teaching disc golf, but what's not talked about as often is what you do with the other arm, the off arm. Today, we're going to talk about exactly that. Let's get into it. Today, again, I have my good friend Mike Strauss, Chicagoland disc golf coach, very well renowned in the area and starting to grow more and more outside of that. Mike, you've been studying this game for a very long time, and initially what sent you into this kind of rabbit hole studying the sport of disc golf all those years ago was injury from your own experiences. Talk about that and talk about how that kind of spurred your growth in the sport of disc golf.
Way back, 2004, 2005 is when I really started looking at my game, right? Trying to really fix it and started diving deep into the mechanics. And I read an article that said, throw the disc like you're popping a towel, right? So I took that literally. And I went out to the course and I was throwing as hard as I can and stopping my arm out in front of me. And the weight of my arm tore my tendon in my arm, my extensor tendon. And it really set me on a journey of saying, you know, what we tell everybody is important. So that really made me deep dive even more into the mechanics. So I've been studying it for almost 20 years. Unfortunately, in 2016, I herniated my C5, C6 cervical spine. Couldn't play, but I had a silver lining in it because it made me look at the other aspect of all of the mechanics, right? How can we do this safe? What does this mean? What's the safe range of motion? And when I was looking at the pros, as I had always done in tournaments, I started seeing other things that were on the same film that I've seen before, but from a range of motion standpoint. So, you know, I'm going to treat it as a blessing. It's made me add layers to the biomechanics study that I've been doing for so long. And so that has just been really the heart and soul of everything I've studied.
All right, Mike, off arm in the backhand. What is the general job of the off arm? What is it supposed to do?
In a nutshell for me, it gathers the left side, which in turn crashes into the brace, right? So that's kind of what it does. When we're coming into the last step, what I call the point of no return, right? We've gone into it, our hips and shoulders are still at the target. The point of no return says, if I keep my head centered and I move into the last step, I have no choice but to go that direction. I can't hold myself back. So as we land, let me kind of set this up. As we land, we've walked away from the disc, right? Not around, we're not going around anything. We walked away. Right here, the disc and my foot, right, the front foot are the furthest away. Now, just like in a baseball swing, when they come here and they stride, their arms move backwards because we want to stretch that rubber band, right? So right here, we've stretched the rubber band. Now comes the left side, or the off side. And we see players start in different positions, but what it does is, see, my knee is inside. I've landed on the big toe and the knuckle of the big toe. This left side now gathers the knee, the hip, and the shoulder and drives into the brace right there. That is the weight shift, 45 back to 45 forward. From here, the outward extension to 10 o'clock happens. So that left side is key of being patient and waiting till we've stretched the rubber band, and mine happens to be here, and I drive it down into the brace.
When you're talking about your left shoulder, your left side in general, looks like it's firing first before the other side does anything. Is that correct?
Yes, because what you're doing is you're pressing it into the brace. We don't shift and then pull the left side, right? Or rotate that left side or gather that left side. We do it at the time to create lag tension, right? We drive it there. Now all of this is engaged. It's tight and I can hit off of it. If I land and drive my hand backwards, it rotates this shoulder forward, which then, this is already folded out, crashes into it, right? And hands it off. It's like Newton's cradle, right? Goes in the front and back. In bowling, like I said, they'll talk about when you go into the backswing to go thumb down. So this goes forward. So when you come through, it's here and here, and we finish this way, right? In bowling, it's not 1, it's 1, 2. Same thing here. 1, 2.
My question for you now, you have a new player come to you, and the off arm is a little sloppy.
Okay.
Maybe they chicken wing a little bit, it's a little clunky, and you've said this as a boat anchor is a funny analogy. It feels like you're just kind of dragging the backside with you as you're throwing. Where would you tell a newer player to start, like working tangibly on the off arm? Is it okay to leave the arm dead by your side and then work back up from there? Where would you have them start?
So to your question, I would not have them leave it just dead because it probably will just be drug along, right? But I love what you're asking. There's a very simple method of just keeping the left or the off elbow to the side and let it come out and rotate. And it's just sitting here relaxed, right? Doesn't have to be tense. This does not need to be up. And just as you come through with the weight shift, just drive it down. It can be that simple.
Well, that is going to do it for today's video on the off arm. Mike, that was an enlightening discussion on where our power comes from in the backhand throw. Not just the throwing arm, but back here can also be optimized to give you more power and direction. I hope you learned a lot. We will see you out there next time. Thanks for tuning in. For even more content on this topic, make sure to go watch this episode on the Disc Golf Network.